This is Mark Hubbs with Air's Gone Bullet Modes. Today we're going to be talking about this little jewel. This is a Remington Model 1863 pocket revolver, 31 caliber originally, that's been converted to 22 long rifle. And this is the standard reproduction that's still made today by Pieta. I don't know who did the work on this revolver though. It's a mystery to me, and if anyone knows, I'd like to find that out. I bought it off Gunbroker, and when I bid on it, I don't think the seller or even the people bidding against me knew that this gun had been converted to 22 rimfire. They thought it was still 31 caliber. But anyway, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and then we're going to go to the range and see how it shoots. I'm going to open it up here and take the cylinder out, and it comes out just as it would normally if it was still cap and ball. It has what is called now a Howell type conversion, and but that's really copied off a conversion technique that was done in the 1870s for 32 rimfire. So it's very much like the original 32 rimfire conversion for this gun, with the exception that it's now in 22 long rifle. And you can't see from where you're at, but the barrel has been relined from 31 down to 22 caliber. So stick with me, and we'll go to the range and see how it shoots. Before I loaded it up with full power 22 long rifle cartridges, I decided to load it first with CCI CB shorts. Now, this is a modern version of an old cartridge, an old black powder 22 cartridge that emerged in the 1870s and 80s. And it's loaded to black powder velocities at about 700 feet per second. Still has a standard size 22 short casing, and the bullet weighs 29 grains. CB stands for conical ball, although there are some who say it stands for city bullet, because this low power round evidently is popular for people with pest control in the backyard. The CB caps were fun to shoot, no recoil, and they sounded like a big air gun going off. But I had a couple of failure fires, and I'm not certain if it was a problem with the primer not being struck hard enough because of the nature of the round, or if it's because they were old rounds. And they are about 20 years old. They've been in storage for that long, so I'm not going to blame it on the gun or the bullet until I do more testing on this particular cartridge. Next, I loaded with some standard velocity Federal rounds, and these shot very well. I still had a failure to fire off and on one chamber, and I think there's a timing issue in that particular chamber, and I'm going to have to go back and see if I can remember which one it was and find any evidence for what's going on there. Here's some slow-mo. See if I can see any gas escape from the cylinder gap, but none that I can see. They shot very well, very pleasant. There was substantially more recoil in this little gun than the CB caps, obviously. And one thing I also found was that even when shooting with black powder with this type of revolver, there's no trigger guard. It's just a spur. And you really have to be careful where your finger is when you go to cock that gun. You have to move it forward, get it off the spur, or the hammer will not engage. The spur trigger and the tiny grip would really make it difficult to deploy this thing under pressure in a defensive situation. So you may have to make sure everything's exactly right where your hands are to ensure that it cocks, and also that you don't prematurely pull the trigger before you're ready to do so. Like most cap and ball revolvers, the little conversion shoots very high, and it took me a while to figure out what point of aim I should use. Eventually I realized I had to shoot at the bottom edge of this 10 by 8 piece of paper to get it center of the paper. And you can see the group there is really not bad. For a belly gun at 10 yards, the 6-shot string is at about 4.5 to 5 inches, just a little bit off to the left. Before you can reload the little gun, you have to remove the cylinder and push out all the empty brass using a dowel or a rod of some kind. And it's a sort of a slow process, but compared to the cap and ball method that these folks converted from, this really was a big improvement. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And as I said before, I'd like to find out what gunsmith did this conversion work. I'd be curious to find out who it is and if they can give me any pointers or information about this particular gun. Please visit our website if you haven't done so. You can see our full line of bullet modes for Civil War era revolver and carbines. Thanks again.